I think like if you're in a relationship and you're serious, like you're serious about God, about your individual and collective relationship with Christ, and about waiting for marriage and honoring God, I think like how far is too far is not supposed to be the question. Like I think like when you say how far is too far, it's more of a question of we
Negotiation
want to
with
gratify
God,
our flesh. So, but
How far
what's the
can we go
limit
without
that,
sinning?
so yeah, so I mean, I think like the question should be like how much can we honor God? Because then you'll always end up doing less. Like yeah,
Leo tu ni bars.
yeah.
Alright.
That's it.
5, 6, 7.
Hi guys. Welcome and welcome back to the cool side. Hope you're having a good week. For our returning subscribers, Tunawapenda, we value you. Continue to share the content. Like, if it's your first time, welcome to the cool side. We're excited that you're here. So, Jobu.
Kuna mtu mahali amechanganyikiwa but tunaendelea.
My guy.
Our sound guy is on
Uko
leave.
sawa lakini? Are you okay? Uko sawa? Everything is okay? I'm okay.
Our sound guy is on leave. Mwenye tuko na yeye is usually a clown. He's a former clown who umevaa the other way around earphones.
Yeah. Yeah. So, karibuni, I'm June. Guest ataji. Ama ajiintroduce wa kwanza.
Alright, barabara kasawa. My name is Nathan Kemoe. Ama you can call me Baba Matthew. Asante sana. Leo naweza niita kwako lunch.
Tunaweza kuita?
Kwako lunch.
Oh no.
My name is Job Mwandembe. Today, this is 100% cotton, this is 100% cotton, this is 100% leather. This is 100% leather and 100% rubber. Inaitwa nini hiyo kitu inanichapa?
Static electricity.
I hope imeisha. Otherwise, apart from that, I'm doing good so far. Yeah, so far so good. Wiki yako imekwaje pasi?
Wiki yangu imekuwa fiti. Ni last week tulikuwa tunafanywa appraisals.
I think
ilikuwa the other week. So that hiyo ndio nakumbuka vizuri. Sunday was fun. Highlight yangu of this past few weeks imekuwa tu bridge. Na enjoy bridge sana. From Folivers wa Emmanuel na makanisa mengine ya Kericho. Nyinyi wa true.
For context, bridge program ni ex-candidates, people who have just completed Form 4.
Yes.
Wanakuja for like a mentorship program.
Yeah.
For how many weeks?
For 12 weeks.
For 12 weeks, so in that period wanafundishwa the in-betweens of like the transition, most of the transition period, but now in a Christian perspective. Yeah. Tunapa kwa
Rana mwenyewe.
Mzee Rana.
Mimi naitwa Ranavas. Sina mengi. Leo nimekuja. Yes.
He's usually behind the camera. Leo we have a clown behind the camera. But he's doing a good job. It's funny business, but it's a good job either way.
Yeah.
Perhaps the friend.
So, tunafanya a continuation of the previous episode on navigating relationships in a godly manner. So, kama uja watch you can take a moment, go and watch that one first.
Pause the video. Rudy.
Alafu ndio ukuje watch part 2. Yeah.
That should be episode 34. Episode 34, oh my goodness. So for you, sorry. So that you get context of whatever is happening right now, you have to start with that one. So before we did this episode, tulipeana maswali. We posted...
Jobu, ngoja tu. Wewe bado unaendelea kuwatch video na hujaenda kuwatch episode 34. Hebu jiheshimu. Close this tab.
Hayo.
No,
Just
go to Jokof episode,
34
press play. We'll be here, don't worry. Atwendi mahali.
Yeah.
ilikuwa inaitwa what is the caption? I'm forgetting the name.
The name of
Funds of affirmation.
Funds of
Oh.
affirmation.
Oh yeah.
Funds of affirmation, yeah. So leo tunaendelea na hiyo episode na last time tulikuwa tumeachia there are specific places I had noted before we couldn't manage before we couldn't manage on time. To pick up on red flags, tuanze na maswali, tumalizie whatever you are doing first and then we answer the questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kama red flags in relationships. That was something you had highlighted before you ended the previous episode. And then there was accountability, and then how far is too far, and then why shouldn't you have sex before marriage? So some of the things that I had noted before the previous episode.
Okay, that's quite a bit.
So tuanze na red flags in relationships.
See, tuanze hivi. You've all been in relationships, haven't you, Rana? Hey, but Rana, I think Jobu ndo, haven't you, Jobu?
I have.
Yeah. What was a red flag for you?
So funny thing ni this whole topic we had discussed it in 2 episodes.
Oh.
We had the ladies do their part, then we had the gents do their part.
Okay.
Yeah, so
ama hii tunapeana zenye sisi tume experience
And your experience.
na kama ulikuja kurealize baadaye hiyo time zilikuwa zimefuliwa.
But
Unaiona
they were,
sahi,
and that's the
in
thing.
retrospect,
There were still red flags.
Yeah.
You had just painted them brown
because me
or maroon,
Maroon, yeah.
or pink. So
Ilikuwa na
what's
vitu.
something that maybe you realize later on, I should have noticed that. Ukiona mtu amekurusha wachi under the bus, ujue hakuwa nayo. Jobu.
red flags. I have to think.
Hebu zangu ni mingi.
Hey.
Okay, red flags. Red flags. Let's see. Siwezi taka kuingia much into detail juu alikuwa best ya watu.
No names mentioned, just as ambiguous
As ambiguous as possible.
so that you don't put, usiseme alikuwa ananifulia t-shirt yangu ya green yenye ilikuwa imeandikwanga hapa hivi king
Na ashawaivaka kuja
na
na
shawaiva akaenda nayo church.
hata Sunday wanaweza irudia. So watch out.
Yeah, unaweza nipata na maybe, I think one of the tunaweza okay, personally maybe for me I don't like passing blame sometimes. Pia mi najiblame for I think being si stupid. Okay, ni stupid but hiyo kufua red flags like hizi nini zako ni red sana, acha nifuefue kidogo, acha nijifanye sioni. Unaona, but basically ni I think she did too selfish.
Yes and no, but yes,
Selfish with the time.
Selfish in the sense that I'm willing to do anything for myself, and anything I do for you must also benefit me.
Oh.
Yeah, makes sense by the way.
So like kama kitu inakubenefit wewe peke yako, wewe hiyo shughulikia. Kama kitu wewe ndo unafanya ninatubenefit si wawili, hebu tufanyie.
nitakupush.
I get you.
Lakini kama ni mimi nafanya, either ni mimi najisaidia
It's for
ama
me.
tuna benefit, ama kama ni wewe una benefit pia mimi ninapata benefit, wewe ukibenefit.
Go girl, go girl.
Wow. Red flags. Me, I was the red flag.
Hili kama kuna mimi fulani inasema ati nimeambia huyu msee I was in an abusive relationship. Alafu anafikiria mimi ndo nilikuwa victim. Anafikiria I was the victim.
To go to Mike man. Le.
I just think like sikuwa, when I feel the lack of Jesus, but sikuwa, kuna vitu sikuwa nazo like communication skills, ability to be vulnerable, and I think it cause a lot of, now the limit, like there was a higher limit on how deeply you could be friends or how deeply you could know each other. So yeah, haikuwa anything that
I think Jobuna, uko na red flag?
Lilikuwa na secondary hapo kwa selfishness.
Hata mi nataka ku third ray on selfishness. I read somewhere that love is when you put the interests of others above yourself.
Yeah.
If someone says they love you, it means one of the things that it should mean is I will place your interests above mine. I will prioritize you. So the opposite of that, the opposite of that is obviously selfishness, where if someone is in a relationship and all they're thinking is what is in it for me, that's a business. That's not a relationship. There'll be times where you need to let go of something for the sake of someone else, for the sake of the betterment of someone else. If a relationship is between two selfish people, they're better off being single, if we're honest. Because mtakuwa mnapigana tu ile tu ya this is for me, and the other one is like this is for me, and then you're never really coming together. And that could look like, you are strong-willed and what, but imagine most of the things that ask you to extrapolate to marriage. Imagine you're married to that person and salo inaingia na yeye anasema tu ni yangu, alafu yule mwingine pia anaingia anasema yake ni yake. That home will not function no matter how much you try to work things out, unless both of you have placed the interests of one another. Nile, if Junior and I were in a relationship, no. Maureen and you, my wife is called Maureen. Wacha kabla watu waanze kusema unaona Nathan alisema ku relationship na June. So Maureen and I are married. If I was selfish and thought about myself only, Maureen would struggle to make the home. And then if Maureen thought about her yake ilikuwa she's sorting herself out, mimi nijipange, mimi na Matthew tujipange, then we're better off not having that person in our lives. But if both of us are intentionally saying, how can I be of help to you, telling each other, then now that is a very green flag. But kama mtu ako selfish, if it doesn't benefit me staki, your insurance will also benefit them. If you know, you know. Utapotea tu upate insurance yake na songe mbele. Yeah.
Leo kuna is it gaslighting? So kuna gaslighting na kuna reverse psychology. I feel like they somehow kuna mshikamano kidogo hapo.
Like gaslighting is manipulating someone to believe that they are the cause of everything that has gone wrong. So the gaslighting yenye nimeona Pro Max ile paka nasamanga wow, heish, that's a talent. Ni ile a spouse beats the other spouse. Most of the times it's a man. So let's say a man beats up his wife and then blames the wife for making them angry. And therefore, the woman apologizes for making him so angry that he beat her up.
Yeah.
You get? So, you're manipulating. If you find yourself apologizing for things that you know you did not do, the door. Like, that's a red flag. Actually, that's another red flag. If you find yourself apologizing for something that, and being afraid to speak your mind in a relationship, that's a very dangerous relationship. Be you the man or the woman. If you find yourself every time you raise an issue because it has bothered you, na imekusumbua, 2 minutes later, you're apologizing and saying, I'm so sorry, I brought it up. And yet you had thought about it, you had stewed over it, you had looked at it this side, and you're like, yeah, we need to talk about this because it's bothering me. And then you find yourself apologizing about that. Master manipulator hapo hivi. Wewe atakuchapa na utasema pole. Wewe atafagia bank account yako wamalize pesa na kuambia nini umwambie I'm so sorry.
You put me in that situation.
Exactly.
I wasn't even supposed to touch your money.
Exactly.
I'm a very hardworking man.
Kama kuna video nilikuwa na
before I met you.
Hizi video za wasa wamebastiwa partner moja ana cheat. Alafu anaanza kusema ni wewe uko unanipea attention.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And most of the times you'll not get to cheating early on in the relationship. It'll just be, as I said, small things. You have communicated that, I really value someone keeping time. So if we're meeting at 5, let's meet at 5 for coffee. Please let me know if you're coming late. Then the person arrives. If they apologize and that's a different thing. But the person arrives and tells you tell them, hey, by the way, sijapenda vile umechelewa, anakuambia, now why are you mbona unapiga kelele, it just makes me feel bad. A line that may be used is, you're making me feel like less of a man when you talk down at me, and ABCD yada kidogo you're saying, Aki, by the way, I'm even sorry that I got annoyed at you being late. Iyo itaka kidogo in relationships. Butterflies,
affection.
Affection is the word. And that ends when you start living with one another. Allow me to use Reverend Joyce's examples. Every day you meet with your girlfriend, she's very well dressed. Trust me, when she wakes up in the morning, she doesn't look like that. The things that, especially physically, had attracted you to that person may fade away. But then you need to be intentional. You need to be committed and intentional in maintaining the connection, in communicating, in placing one person above the other. But that being said, actually, there's no but. That being said, if you're not careful to be intentional, affections fade. By those ones fade. By Mr. Sema yangu ime fade. But by year 5, year 6, year 7, children have come, what has happened, and most marriages usually get to a point whereby you're in it for the children. Yani you live together, but there's no spark. If you've watched Transylvania, there is no zing. But the love that Juno's saying, that stays. It is, you still have to be patient with one another. You still have to be kind to one another. You still have to keep no record of wrongs for one another. That doesn't fail. But it has to be cultivated na ipepetu na vitu zingine. You can't just say, tunapendana, so hata tusipongeleshana for 3 weeks. We still love one another. No. You have to be intentional. That's why if you're not careful, you end up becoming what old people do. The man, the lady is always asking the man if they love them. Bibi ako hapo tu, but do you love me? Mwanaume ako hapo, if things change, I will communicate. I told you I love you during our wedding. If they change, I'll communicate. But at the same time, the man is always introducing himself to his wife. Oh, unanijua wewe?
That's funny.
But if there is constant communication, if there's intentionality, you grow to know one another. You grow to still love and affirm one another's love over and over.
Kuna Wadberry ilikuwa nasema Bible inasema grow in love.
Si ndio ni hiyo? You're just growing day by day.
So it means apart like it's just about love purely, the biblical love. So there's nothing like we can make better financial decisions with this guy. We can, like, with this lady, we can kind of, like, for instance, you and Mo, you told us, I don't know if it's okay if I say it on the pod, like, you had a series of engineers all along. Was it intentional or it was just
Hey. What I share with you, sawa tu. No, it was not intentional. It was just the surrounding that I had was filled with such people. So I used to hang out with them all the time. So that became the kind of the part, like, I would, it was not always it lazima unafanya course gani?
Wewe ni mwalimu,
Education.
Next.
Z. No, mine was just the people I used to hang around a lot were engineers and stuff. So, even too. There's one even I didn't know was an engineer until when feelings had started. I left by then, by then I'm engineering. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, add that to the list. Yeah.
okay?
But when it comes to your question on making,
There's no strategic decision there.
no, there's no strategic, but most of the time you will look at the potential the person has.
That's what. Yeah.
Ladies will look at that. Actually, as a man, well, right now I still advocate for ladies, young ladies. Don't wait for a guy who is fully self-actualized. If you're looking for a man who's self-actualized, you're looking for a sugar daddy, not for a husband. Because most of the time, the guys who are in their 20s are still trying to figure things out. Jobu is still trying to figure things
Kuna
out.
kampuni,
Kuna
zero
kampuni,
plans yet.
yeah, but does he have a vision? You buy into the potential of the man.
Yeah.
That is what I would invite ladies to look at. Even as you gauge the man, huyu anakaa kwenda mahali, mnakaa kwenda place poa. Usiangalie tu vibes pia. Vibes are nice, but your children will not eat vibes. Just saying. Yeah.
So,
That's, yeah.
This is good title ya pod. Your children will not eat vibes.
Umetaja ndo nikakumbuka pia hiyo ilikuwaga like a major red flag for me. Personally, mi nilikuja kurealize after nime break from see actually after juu mimi nilifanya venye story fulani kwa Paps.
Kwa Paps the friend.
I
Diaries.
healed before I left. So by the time
You healed before you left.
I healed before I left. So by the time tutakuja
And it's
Ku call things off.
Yeah.
ulikuwa ushatoka.
Nilishatoka. So
Kusolemnize ilikuwa tu mi niko
ile
nje by
design,
the
ile design kuna job fulani Benja aliniita nikamfanyie. Alafu sasa hiyo type sasa Benja alikuwa anajua na huyo msee. So ndo akaniuliza mimi nikamwambia yeye huko mimi nilitoka kitambo. So ni like 2 weeks ago, lakini Benja anashangaa huyo msee bado amechangamka, rada ni gani? Akaanza kuniambia sijui mkuja na Nyamo counseling.
Nyamo pia yake ilikuwa imeungua. It's Nyamosi, what's up?
Oops,
Tunakumiss.
Mimi nikamwambia pasi mimi niko sawa. 4-year relationship. Na kaambia hizi vitu zio happen. So after ndo nimekuja kurealize mazi kulikuwa na a lot of red flags zenye nilikuwa tu nimefunga macho. One of them ni umetaja buy into your vision. Hiyo ni something I experienced first hand. In the sense that I have a dream.
Martin Luther King Jr.
I have a dream. Lakini sasa this person is not feeling it. Unapata? Na sio feeling it to, I'll just tell you, lakini in actions niko like
yeah.
but then mimi naweza taka kwenda majuu. Si utakuja tuende na wewe.
I get what you're saying.
Unaona sasa mimi ndo niko na dream. Sasa tuseme huyu msee mwingine ako like
I'll be rubbing you off that dream so that you kind of get what. For instance, you see, someone like me is looking to pursue entrepreneurship and self-employment, but now you're looking towards employment.
Employment.
So now these are two different characters in the sense that you are conservative. I'm very proactive. Not proactive. I'm very there's a word for that. Like I have a very high affinity for risks. So now at some point in a later struggle, it works perfectly for some people. It doesn't for some people. So now depending now, I feel like that's a factor people should even look into.
It's as you said last time, dating is a period of knowing, and there is no day I will tell you, Aki, don't end this relationship. You've already committed to one another. If anything seems off, feels off, you can't live with it. Cheza kama wale watu wa Elsa and her friends. Let it go. Let it go.
Yeah.
Because if you look as your friends, you will know. Someone will feel maze sana take risks mingi na inibambi na inanisumbua na na feel is this how I'd like to raise our children? If you have so many questions and no answers, it's okay to leave. Me, I'm those ones for.
Unaona kama hiyo ya Rea venye anasema ni unasema unataka kwenda majuu, but me I'm for live and die in Africa. Because I feel like Africa has a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
People are coming to Africa. I'm here together. I'm here to harness that Africa myself. So you see that like
kwenda majuu unaweza enda. Mimi sina shida ukienda. Lakini sasa unataka pia mimi nikuje.
Like so like she's disregarding.
So then that's just a sign that even later on as you grow that will be an issue. Because she'll ever be applying for green cards, be applying for this and this and that, and then when she gets it, you will have the mother of all arguments discussing how can we not do this. Is for her, she sees it as for the good of the family. For you, you're seeing you see Africa as the place where you'd like to raise your children and pursue opportunities. Mtazushiana tu, alafu mmoja atenda ngambo, mwingine abaki hapa, and every time you talk on the phone, it's just wewe see the opportunities here. Wewe pia unaambia see the opportunities here.
Umetengeneza pesa ngapi?
You know?
Let's convert that in dollars.
So that's a whole argument. I don't know. I'll not say leave, but I'll just say it's a difficult place to be extrapolating to marriage. I think one of the, if you title this, you'd title extrapolate to marriage. Like extrapolate to marriage and see if any argument you're having now, multiply by 5. That's how you'll be having it in marriage. Yeah. So kama do say bado, I'll lay low for the sake of the relationship. But sasa kama tuko kwa ndoa bwana, mimi nitakwambia vile inafaa. Na wewe pia umekuwa ukiwanga, you've been the lady has been kind and polite and understanding.
Atuko pamoja, so unaweza jam uende, mimi ni jam uende.
Kwako.
Uende ujam kwako, upike ugali but sasa hiyo the person you're angry at is in your face. Kwanza mnaishi one bedroom. Amupitani?
Nini?
I'm a bed sitter. You turn and you see everything, including her.
So let's now move to accountability, and then I don't know, for accountability I have a question. At what point does one become accountable to the other person? Like because I feel like accountability demands a lot of vulnerability.
Yes.
At the same time, because for me to be accountable to you, I have to tell you this is what I feel like I am looking towards. This is where I'm from. This is where I'm going. What do you think about it? So they also have to give you the same. Like in another psychological lesson, they kunafunzwa if you want to talk to someone about something, for instance. So it's usually there are like levels of conversation. So if you want to provoke a certain level of conversation, you have to initiate the conversation. So you initiate the conversation. You might not say everything, but just give them like a hint. For instance, you might want to talk about finances. Like, okay, why is it that I want that life that I want? Maybe I want that life that I want because I didn't have that life when I was a kid. So now you see that's some level of vulnerability that I've provoked. So now it initiates a similar nini from the other person. So that's how that conversation runs. But you see, for you to have an accountability conversation, it means you guys have to be very vulnerable. Does that happen like in the talking stage, you have to be now pursuing each other? Because imagine now everyone knows
that happens during dating. It doesn't happen when even talking stage. When you're courting, you don't start divulging all your dreams and aspirations and how you're going to pursue
in
them
talking stage.
to every Tom, Dick and Harry. To every, for ladies, for every Tom, Dick and Harry. For gents, for every sijui. For every Jane, Mary, and Harriet. You share with people who you've crossed a certain level of closeness with. But the accountability from my end was not necessarily for that. It was more of relationships. If you're in a relationship, you need to be accountable to someone else outside concerning that relationship. You get so that, because sometimes there's something called Johari's window. There are things you see, you know that you know about yourself, and everybody knows. You know that nobody knows. People know and that you don't know, and then there's nobody knows and you don't know. But that one people
nobody
see.
Nobody knows and you don't know.
Nobody knows. Ni Mungu tu anajua.
Like for instance.
So we
can't have an instance because we don't know.
We don't know. Niko hapo.
Then I don't know. That's an infinite.
Hiyo ni Mungu anajua. Na mimi vitu Mungu anajua.
Mungu anaweza kufunulia mtu that specific thing.
Sasa sio itachange.
Sasa mimi itakuwa itaingia ile yenye
sasa hiyo iko
it's an infinite. Okay.
So
because God is infinite.
Many wise. So you'll need another pair of
like
eyes.
Zero sum in physics or in computer.
You need another set of eyes to help you out. That's what I was talking about, accountability. If your relationship is a secret, and you're not accountable to someone, just letting them know. And I'm not saying give details. Na leo alikohoa sijui nimba na tumbo yake alafu alikuwa no, it is just major things.
The secrecy and privacy.
Yes. So private is when you let specific people know. Like for example, my relationship with Mo, the person who knew was Benja and Kipla. JT came to know later on, and Lily. Then Polopolis became public as we were nearing the wedding. But before, it was very private. But it was not secret. When I say that, it means when I would go to Nairobi to see Mo, Benja would know. And would ask questions that are important for the sake of the purity of the relationship. So kama unalala wapi? Buda ni saa 3 uko wapi? Niko kwa Paul. Okay, sawa. Na Mo wako wapi? Ako kwake. Okay. Buda ulisema unakuja leo. Paul amekuachilia. Hebu pea Paul simu ama uko kwa Paul. Hebu pea Paul simu. Just so that kuna vitu zingine tukikaa na mtu paka saa 5 usiku peke yetu, hata kwa simu mkianza kutexting ikifikanga saa 5 saa 6 SMS zinenanga tu zinaanza kuwa giza, inaanza kuwa tu anasa. True or false?
That's true.
You see? True or false?
I have not seen it.
Unalalanga saa 4
saa 3 ndio mwisho.
Saa 3 anakonga tu
Lala late lakini.
But it's those ones. So you need someone to help you fight for purity. But I think we're coming to that. But that's something that I think young relationships don't have, because you're trying to keep things secret. Because you're afraid sijui atanibia chali. If I let people know labda pia uchali akai poa, my enemies will laugh at me. Oh, nini.
Yeah. There's usually a saying that the devil thrives in secrecy. So like if, for example, sin is introduced into the relationship, the more kuna kwanga pia na verse nasemanga confess your sins to one another.
Tunaifanya BS leo.
So like the more
James chapter 5.
when it's just the two of you, it's easy to keep it a secret when you're struggling with something. But the moment like there's
you
somebody,
share someone else helping you, praying for you, holding you accountable, you are able to overcome that sin. I remember a friend of mine who alikuwa nangangana in the relationship. Purity was just a girl's name. it was not anything else. Sorry. They would fall into sin, and then they would tell one another, this is the last time. Let's pray. And then they would pray, and then the next day or a week later, they're alone in the same conditions that led to the previous one, and because they love one another, they don't want to be apart from one another, and they want to be just take time and just be alone so that they can get to connect. They would connect, but on a physical level again. And then they would fall. The day they came to their senses, wakaambiana, cheki, tutafute mtu atusaidie. Hii ni story niliambiwa because sio mimi nilitafutwa. I was still but a campus student. They looked for someone, and all they were told was, cheki, mkiwa pamoja mniambie. Sasa tuko pamoja. Wapi? Kwa room. Tokeni. and then hoteli. Go for a walk. And then muone sunset. And then muone stars. And then tu mukae tu mahali watu wanapita pita.
And then missions.
And then mission hiyo hao wamefikata mission. Hiyo ilikuwa tu niko baya. And the more that person was in their business, as uncomfortable as it was, they found themselves, someone was seeing something they couldn't see. So hawa na excuse kukaa pamoja kwa room, msana wa show tu, and then nitawatumia do. Eti hatuna do, tunataka kupika tu peke yetu, to spend time pamoja kwa room ya Mresh. Roommate yake yako wapi? Ameenda Ocha, anakuja kesho kutwa. Fanya hivi. And then hoteli. Nakutumia so 5. Si wengine unaweza jaza? Kaeni huko. Mkimaliza mnipigie. Wanamaliza, wanarudi, dem anaachwa, anaingia kwake. Boy anaambiwa usidhubutu kwenda kumwambia good night kwa room yake. Enda tu. It's uncomfortable, but I would dare say they needed that person to fight for purity. But the more if they would have kept it secret, they would be falling at the same place because they can't really see what one does. And how did we end up here? See, we were just talking. Hata mimi kuna time boy wangu aliniambia tu ndugu, hapa vile umekaa utatuletea firstborn. And it's when someone calls it out, you notice something. The things you do in your craft, Jobu, that somebody else told you, by the way, ukifix hapa itakuwa fiti. These people see things. Ray, Rana, there are things you'll do. Kama kuna basement uli soundproof, that thing would never have thought about it. But someone told you, I know you can do it, do it. Na ukifanya kitu offer na kushow, that's the people you need around you. And it's people you trust to tell you the truth. Na usibebe kwa roho. Because pia unajua unaweza sema unakuwa accountable, alafu msaki kuambia cheki, usiende room na odem yako, unaanza kuambiana this guy doesn't want us to thrive.
I think pia like
unajua kwanza hata ameolewa. Mimi sijui anatuambia nini.
Exactly. Because that's usually what happens. You want to be accountable, but accountability means your privacy is no longer your privacy. It means you have to take correction and you have to follow correction. Because if I'll tell you usifanye na bado unafanya, then what's my role in your life? Sieri tu niende nicheze na Matthew badala kukaa chini nikikwambia bro hii ni nini na nini.
I think like when you're a mature Christian, like ama you can consider yourself sometimes you think like you think like let's say for example you start to think things like naweza kuwa na yeye na tuko peke yetu and we'll be fine. But the thing about sexual sin, like the Bible calls us to flee.
But I'm
That's
strong.
why inasema like flee, because there's no such thing as me, I know a lot, me I'm so strong so I can be in that situation.
See hata Joseph, as strong as he was,
Yeah.
akukan akiwambia Potiphar's wife, I command you in
Yeah.
the name of Yahweh
Yeah.
to leave me. There are points.
Yeah.
Kata kona ile design ya watoi hivi.
Eh,
Ama kwe katanga. Ule kimbianga alafu unaji streamline.
yeah.
Kila
'Cause I think
mtoto.
inakwanga two small considerations.
Yeah.
It's like one decision follows the other.
Exactly.
Like we alone, a small decision like ina afford. Kukadol tu.
Ni zile za one
kidogo,
thing leads to another.
Just a peck. So pia kulikuwa ni swali lenye Jobu alikuwa amesema concerning that, like how far is too far.
Yeah, it's that was the next
How
one.
far is too
Yeah.
far? Like, is kissing wrong? Sini kiss tu.
Ni kimunju.
Mundu, like,
Yeah.
I was having this conversation.
Kwanza hata si kwa lips ni kwa cheeks.
ni kwa chicks tu.
I was having this conversation on Friday
Uh-huh.
with a couple of friends. And the question that they asked me was, it was a lady telling me, she wanted to pursue purity. Alikuwa ananishow maze, I want my next relationship to be those crazy pure relationships. Zile maze, there's no flesh involved. We're not doing a lot of physical things. We're doing a lot of emotional and mental connections. And then she told me, but maze, I don't think there's a guy out there who really wants that. The world has told us sex before marriage is wrong, and all. How do I say this nicely? I'm looking forward, like, and as long as it's not penetration, it's fine. So people are experimenting with all sorts of things and saying, see, the Bible says do not have sex. We are not. So we are fine. And she was telling me, I don't want that. And first and foremost, conversations need to be had before entering. One of the conversations that you need to have before entering a relationship is, how far is too far for you? And then you agree. Before I give you what my how far is, I would say, if someone is saying the act of penetration is how far, and then you're saying kissing is your end, acha tu niseme kuna mmoja mwenye atavutwa the other side na si ule wa kissing.
Yeah.
And it's those things for, as I talk about how far is too far, if it arouses a desire in you to go further, you have to cut it at that. If you're starting with kissing and then 2 days later or a month later, you're like, I need more than this. Because it always starts with a peck on the cheek, then on the lips, then moves and moves.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
sorry. Just
Oh, someone said boundaries are set for a reason.
Yeah.
But boundaries are not set at the very edge of the cliff. You know? They are set quite some distance,
yeah.
so that if you hit the boundary, there's space before you fall off the cliff. That someone said that told me that in campus, and I was like, okay, kind of makes sense, but what do you mean? And he was like, if you know this is your limit, you shouldn't be saying hapo ndo sasa nataka tufike alafu tuwache, because there'll come a day your passion, her cycle, and all these things will bomoa that barrier, set it further off. So for you, if you feel like kissing is something that starts you on a trajectory that leads to the flesh, wake up. songesha boundary yako iko hapa, this is where we will be stopping, not here. So it is, I feel like it's an individual thing, but for me I would say if you start kissing, kissing is nice. You'll find yourself doing something more because kissing will not be enough after a while. So I'd say you'd rather watch it before it catches up with you.
Yeah. To add on that, like from a psychological point of view, there's something called dopamine. So like it's something that comes after. It's like a reward,
reward.
after. So you see, if the reward keeps getting higher and higher and higher, so if it was just a hug, very tight hug, and then next time peck on the cheek, like so the you see now you want a higher reward, like the dopamine strike in a graph in a quagga. So now you want to raise it higher, like let's say on the y-axis it was like 100, so now let's take it to 120.
It's not that usually. It is then that thing that gave you 100 today will give you 75. But you want 100
again,
so
you
compensate. It's the same thing. It's the same,
actually
it's the same chemical ama hormone. So I remember the first time I hugged my first girlfriend. Hey, I was but a young boy, fresh out of class 8. I remember that hug, and I remember how it felt. I can't say I remember the smell of her hair, but I think at that time I did. But 3, 4, 5 months into the relationship, the hug was not as rewarding as that was. But the beauty of it was there was so much more we were doing. I wasn't looking forward to the hug. The hug was not my high. It was hanging out and playing and telling stories because we were children. And going to eat chips in some restaurant called Merali's and coming back. That was the main agenda, and that is what gave me a high. It was not the physical, it was more of the emotional connection. And I would dare say every relationship after, as long as physical touch and all these other things came in, the emotional was no longer what I looked forward to. The conversations was not what I looked forward to. I would say every relationship that goes down the road of flesh, of, now we're kissing, now we're doing a bit more, it gets, I don't know about the ladies, but for the gents, that becomes, uko poa. Hauna static. That becomes the goal. Every man starts having the desire of, I want to meet up with my girlfriend, but mimi I'm looking forward to the goodbye kiss. So hizi story tunapiga hapa hivi ni marination. Yeah. Ile, then let's say you have sex, everything he'll be doing will no longer be to make you happy or to know you or to actually connect on an emotional and mental level. It will just be, how happy can I get her so that she rewards me with sex? Because that's all you're looking forward to. And I don't think, and I'm very sure that's not what a relationship is supposed to be. Because when that ends and the relationship ends, mwanaume unatoka hapo ukiwa heartbroken properly, and the next one you're looking for that. But we'll come to why not partake of the Lord's work.
I saw someone say, like, when you engage physically, it also gives you a false facade of closeness. So now you think we are so close, but there's no mental connection. There's no emotional connection. There's no real spiritual connection. There's mental. It's just the physical connection that makes you feel like, wow.
Yes,
to add on that,
fire.
Wow.
To add on that, pia kuko na a lot of physical metaphysical
connection.
money attachment, whatever.
Contracts.
Oh.
A lot of that. It also makes it very hard to, kama relationship hata kama ni toxic, inafanyanga ikuwe very hard to leave.
Kutoka, yeah.
Very hard to leave.
Because there's hata akinitusi, there's a reward at the end.
There's a reward at
I
the
will
end.
take the insult, I will take the demeaning, I will take whatever you have,
Nitafua
as
tu
long
hizo
as
nguo.
as long as, especially a guy will stay, because as long as kuna ile wacha ningoje, there is a reward. You know, not
interesting.
kungoja Yesu, but there's a reward.
Yeah.
June, you when let me say sex, when sex is involved, you no longer, that is the ultimate state of connection for you. So you will never really get to know more. It is, how was your day, nini yeah, uko hapo tu, both of you are just there saying, okay, let's be done with these formalities to tufanye ile kazi yetu. And then you live there feeling like we are so connected, but you don't really know what this person is going through.
Yeah.
Even when someone tells you their problems, you will listen because the reward at the end is sex. It's not because you love them and you care for them. So actually, allow me, see, to go sex before marriage, why is it bad? One of the things is that it takes away from what dating is supposed to be. Dating is supposed to be you coming to know one another, and not biblically. Biblically, no. And Sarah and Abraham knew his wife Sarah, and they had a son. Not that one. It is knowing, how does this person think? What does this person think about their future? What are the plans this guy has? Are we compatible? Can I stand this guy or this lady at their worst? That's what you're looking at during dating. And that is so much to take in and to learn, that sex should not be there because it blinds you. Many acha nikwambie, kama kuna kitu nafichanga red flags ni sex.
Hapo ni ukweli.
Red flags, sex feature red flags design nyingine noma sana. Paka unakanga chini hivi, hata unaona ulikuwa fala, lakini akili yako iko hapo, because the flesh was, your body was just telling you this is good, dopamine, this is good, and then you're like, oh, by this sio mbaya. So mtu anakutusi, mtu anakudharau,
You're using the wrong head to think.
not my words, his.
Are you using the
No.
The wrong organ to think.
The wrong head to think. Ni Jobo amesema, sio mimi. So, and then another one is, someone, I read somewhere where someone said, we are called to be faithful to our wives, to our spouses, but it was a book written to men. So it was, we are called to be faithful to our wives. So why would you cheat on them with someone who they are not? That means, even if she's your girlfriend, she's not your wife. Even though he's your boyfriend, even though he's your fiancé, he's not your husband. So it's, when I thought of that and just went, okay. By the way, when you think of cheating on our wives, you think you're married, and then, but he was like, even this is taking away from what is supposed to be hers and hers alone. So you're cheating on your wife now if you're sleeping with someone who is not your wife or who is not your husband. And then there's an analogy, another analogy that I had, just to build on that. Like, I think tuko hapo kwa why not sex before marriage. And it's an analogy on food. Let's say I'd never eaten chapatis before I married Maureen. And then Maureen makes me chapatis for the first time ever. No, chapatis does not make sense. My wife is Kikuyu. So let's say I'd never eaten mokimo ya njahe na ndizi meiva.
Yote nataka kupika leo.
Because I had
It's
never,
like,
this is true story.
really in your life?
I had never in my life, wapi?
Oh, Oh,
Wapi?
okay.
Miras,
Ndizi imeiva ni ya
Wala,
kukulwa basi.
Nakuletea kesho.
This is- I'm not around tomorrow.
So
Samahani.
so mokimo ya njahe na ndizi imeiva. Sijui vile inamekiwa, mimi nilistukia tu nimeletewa. And I find it's the only mokimo ya njahe I've ever eaten. And I like it. It will be the best mokimo ya njahe I have ever eaten in my life. And every time I'll be telling her, can we have mokimo today? When I get,
Yeah.
because it's the only one I've ever had. But if I had eaten at every imekula mokimo ya njahe ya nani ya I'm looking for a girl's name, ya Ruth, ya Naomi, ya Esther, ya Tama, ya Rahab, and I'd been eating all those mokimos ya njahe. When I would come to eat now Maureen's mokimo, I would always be like, ya Rahab ilikuwa texture was better, ile ingine ndizi ya nani ilikuwa better, ndizi ya Ruth ilikuwa better. I liked the way alikuwa na sprinkle nini. So I would always live eating. I would eat Maureen's mokimo for the beginning. I'd be like, it's okay, but I have a comparison. And there'll be a time where I'll be like, wacha nitafute nani hii imenibo. I remember ya nani ilikuwa na cayenne kidogo, na huyu amekataa kuweka cayenne because she may not be physically able. So I go look for Rahab and tell her nisaidie mokimo ya njahe, or someone else who I hope will have Rahab's mokimo ya njahe. This post is not about mokimo ya njahe. If you know, you know. You will live a life of comparison, and it's not, I'm not preaching doom, but I'm just saying if you haven't, I'd prefer you don't start. And if you have, I'd prefer you stop now and start unlearning everything by God's grace, because God can transform our minds, so that the day you will eat your spouse's mokimo ya njahe, it will be the best, because your mind has been cleansed, or your mind is fresh, whichever, rather than live a life of comparison. Because many people usually leave and step out because they're like, I remember there used to be a better one. I remember this one was not better, but had something different, and you're looking for it. But if I've never eaten, mi nitakuwa hapo tu, mokimo, they're best in the world. Yeah. So even if it's not, it's mine. Yeah.
I've had someone say, trying to be as PG, the same thing about watching explicit movies, for call it a better
So
it's like you are just trying to achieve what you have seen.
Exactly.
And it's unrealistic expectations.
Yeah. So uliona mokimo ya njahe kwa TV ikipikwa, and your wife is not cooking it the way somebody was cooking. So you're like, ai,
umeka mafuta kwanza
wewe
kitunguu alafu
kitunguu,
mafuta.
and then now you end up frustrated at your spouse cause mazee mbona afanyi hivyo, and your spouse is also frustrated cause you're asking of her something that she never gave to you, and may not be physically able to get to that point. Labda wanakanda na nguvu ya agenda gym. This post is not about mokimo ya njahe. Again I say. Mtu atakuwa hapo ndio uanze hii podcast mwanzo, usikuwa hapo tu sasa anaongelea mokimo na nguvu aje. What did mokimo do to them? Yes, Jobu.
That's funny.
Oh, it's your turn now. I think we've covered all what we were supposed to cover in the previous episode.
Okay.
Now, there are questions that you guys asked. We did a post on IG, on all our platforms, basically.
Yeah.
So let's get the questions from
Haziko mingi.
But some of them, just share
I
what
think
you have.
zimejibiwa. Most of them zimejibiwa.
Oh.
Yeah, it was how far is too far.
How far is too far?
Siliona something like sijui color. I wasn't following up at
Yeah,
the time. I had a lot of
makes
nini.
sense.
Hiyo swali ilikuwa
What is the best love color?
What are the characteristics of the true
Love color.
What is a love color? Nika Google.
Mi niligoogle
Nasema red sijui.
red sijui what.
But I think that person meant to say something else.
But for me it is I would say if you're looking for characteristics of love, because I think color hata sielewi.
Kuna msee alisema hii nilisikia mahali kwa reel. Alisema write everything down. Andika ni kama list. Andika my future wife. Andika has a good job, has a what. Ukifika mwisho wa page ukuje ufute my future wife, andike jina yako hapo. Start those things first.
Yeah.
Where did you say this? Jana.
Actually nilikuwa tena niseme same thing. Like above all, kila kitu yenye unafanya, whatever you want, strive to be that version of, if you're looking for like a kind person, you have to be kind to attract kindness.
Yeah.
So you can't get a reciprocation of something that you are not, basically.
Yeah. Jana, if you're not in Kericho, we have an online young professionals Bible study. So Jana, we're going through James chapter 2, ile faith and actions, and someone is like, some of us are busy here because it's single guys who are in the marketplace and working. Like some of us here are seeking and praying and asking God for a spouse. Let's say you're asking God for a husband, and you yourself do not have the characteristics of a good wife. How will God give you something you're not prepared to be? Work on yourself. Ask God to work on you. That He will. There are things that God needs to work on you. Maybe you're impatient, and He knows if He gives you someone's daughter, atateseka. Ask God to give you patience. Ask God to give you a tongue that is not sharp, a tongue that does not cut down, but a tongue that builds up. Because sometimes pia unataka kuoa lakini wewe bana wewe unaongelesha mtu vile unajisikia wewe ni ng'ombe. So mwanaume wa watu watakuja umwambie ni ng'ombe, ashangae tu do you want more? As Ray really put it very well, are you what you would want someone else to have? Are you, for example, are you a husband that you would want your daughter to have, for example, or your sister to be married to? Do you carry that? Are you a lady who would want your brother or your son to marry? Because if you're not, then work on that first. Then the Lord will bring someone alongside you who you will work towards loving one another.
Basi umesema hivyo nikakumbuka at some point nishajiuliza swali kama hiyo kitambo. Then nikaziuliza siwezi taka sister yangu kuona mtu kama mimi Jose. What mean niko hapo, I'm looking for people's daughter. People's daughters.
Ama hata ujiulize mimi ningekuwa dem ningejikufia.
Labda Yesu tu. Yesu tu anaweza kukufia.
It's so interesting.
It's those things because most of the times who are we talking with? The past few weeks. Nilienda Nairobi na nikarudi in what?
36.
Hapana, nilitoka hapa saa 8 and I was back by 8. So in 12 plus 6 in 18 hours. Nilienda Nairobi nikakuwa na mkutano, nilienda Tenwek, tukazungushwa CTC, tukaenda Nairobi through Narok, tukakuwa na mkutano usiku, nikatoka, nikalala 2 hours na nikakuja paka Kericho. By 8 I was here.
That's me sasa this week from today.
Mungu akupe nguvu. But mimi nilikuwa na drive bad. Watu wamezima kwa gari, niko hapo tu nasikiza tu pale ulipo ndipo. Sitaki kuwa mali huko sasa, huko ni binguni. But on that road we were sharing our past relationships and stories about that. And you know, it was so easy for us to blame the other person. You know, when we break up, I'm like, mazee lakini odem alikuanga mrazi, odem alikuanga Jezebel. But one question that we would ask after you tell us about your past relationship, we're like, what role did you play in ending the relationship? Because as far as you know, you're not an angel from heaven. So if a relationship has ended, what role did you play? You are not perfect. Maybe the other person who had more to blame, but especially if it wasn't cheating, if it was just, mulizushiana mkona hii hatuendi mahali, what can you change and what can you ask God to work on you for now before your next relationship, so that the next person who comes in finds you as a better person? I think that's a question that you need to ask yourself, lest you get into another relationship as the exact same person, only older, taller, or skinnier or bigger. That shouldn't be the only change. Physical shouldn't be the only change. Your mind should be different.
Yeah.
Your worldview, was it different? Your temperament, your anger, were you impatient? So the small things that you did at Aizo, work on them. Because the person you're in a relationship also used to give you feedback and tell you, I don't like this. It's important for you to just go, okay, even though they were not good people, they had a point here. Let's work on that for the next person's sake. Yeah. And being single is not a curse. Let me just make that clear. Being single is a blessing. Sometimes I can tell you there are things I can't do now that I used to do being single. So, see laana.
Yeah, and it's also not like necessarily, I think sometimes people look at it as it's like a purposeless waiting season. You get like kwenye nafanya tu ni kungoja.
It's a very vital stage.
Yeah, because
unakumbuka tukisema gaya kitu kwa pod.
Mimi nakumbuka
Very previous episodes. Yeah. Sema like venye being single is such a great nini juu you literally don't consult anyone in anything.
Anything.
It's such an amazing opportunity for growth.
Kesho ulikuwa unaona nivae gungo. No.
Wacha nguo. Bro, unaweza amka umeitwa opportunity. Rana umeambiwa kuna msee Kitale anataka kutengenezewa kitu. Rana is a very good craftsman. So anataka kutengenezewa kitu Kitale. 5 days in Kitale. You can wake up and go. Kuna msee anataka documentary ya 1 month Kitui.
Oh my goodness, I live for that. Sure. Happy.
Yeah.
There's someone offering a short course on entrepreneurship in Nairobi, and they need you to be there because
Namibia.
Yeah?
Amata in Namibia, ama in
and they need you to be there to study, and then you go on attachment or internship somewhere. You're good to go. Yeah. It's an opportunity for growth. It's not a curse. And sometimes the world has made us feel like if you're single, something is wrong with you. But I would dare say there's some people who have been in very few relationships. There's someone who even married their first or their second boyfriend. Those are very lucky people.
Yeah.
Those are I would say they're blessed people because they don't have too much baggage to work with. But for those of us who are jumping from one relationship to another, there is tons of baggage to offload, things you need to unlearn. Maze, saye tuko single, ayo unashukuru Mungu. We uko hapo tu, learning yourself, understanding yourself, growing in your relationship with others and with God and with others, growing your craft.
Yeah,
you get
growing in your own purpose.
So it's not a curse.
Yeah.
There's a lot of freedom, and you realize like there's more things to do and to live for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like for instance, in work, it's easier for you to get fully immersed in work because there's nothing really that needs your attention apart from that work.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from like building relationships with other people, apart from like working on your relationship personally. Actually, there's something tulikuwa tunasema, sijui kama unakumbuka. Tulikuwa tunasema you get comfortable being alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Addictive sana.
Me, I never got comfortable.
At some point by there,
personality yangu.
Haikubali.
Maze leo wase walikuwa wana clean set. wamenyamaza June na Rana, wamenyamaza tu the introverts. Niko hapo tu. I need to say something. These people are just
There's a lot of tension.
Maze me nitajiongelesha bana. But yeah, but singleness we'll talk about it at another time. So if you and I think as we close, because najua hii pod tumerecord.
Can I say something before
Yes,
you close?
yes. Actually, let's say something and then I'll just wind it up.
Oh, everyone says something.
Except for this guy, he'll wind. Who is closing? Utakata ipata. Who nani ana wrap up eventually? Maya kusema thanks you boys and girls. Anyway. Aya. So June, Rana, then Jobu.
Parting shot yangu ni about how far is too far. And I think like if you're in a relationship and you're serious, like you're serious about God, about your individual and collective relationship with Christ, and about waiting for marriage and honoring God, I think like how far is too far is not supposed to be the question. Like I think like when you say how far is too far, it's more of a question of
Negotiation
we want to
with
gratify
God,
our flesh. So, but
How far
what's the
can we go
limit
without
that,
sinning?
so I think like the question should be like how much can we honor God? Because then you'll always end up doing less. Like
They would only bars.
yeah.
Right.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Rana mwenyewe.
Nimejidisorient kidogo lakini nimekumbuka. Okay. I think one of the most serious conversations I'd recommend right now, ama I'd participate if I got into a relationship right now, will be there's accountability, not just from Jobu, but I also want mimi nikue accountable to my partner and I don't know kama English inaingiana hapo. Mimi niko accountable to one another in the sense that if you notice ni kama mimi napotea, niambie. Ama ukinotice ni kama mali naelekea ama the way I touched you at that time was wrong to you, make sure you tell me. Usinyamaze niendelee. Unaona?
I get you.
Unapata. I think such a conversation ni highly recommended. For instance, kama mimi mabeshte friends, sasa kasa hizi unaona sasa niko nywele kubwa. Ukishikashika nywele yangu sasa hii hapana. Sta feel comfortable. Like nita cringe to. So if I don't let you know that, I think itakuwa it's ni kama nini? It's unfair to you. Like nataka ukuwa, I don't know how to put it in the best words. But basically be accountable to one another. If you feel like your partner is going too far, ama is with their language, with their actions, with anything, let them know.
Communicate.
Communicate.
That's a very good point. For me, I think to add on to those amazing points, communication is important. Actually, if you're not comfortable communicating your feelings and how you felt when your partner did something, that's a red flag, if you're being frank. If I can't tell you I was uncomfortable when you did this, then that's a red flag. That's a cause for concern in the relationship. Because then this person will continue doing things. One thing, you're afraid and you're living in fear. What you're afraid of, you need to examine yourself and see what it is, lest you end up doing things and then mtu anafanya kitu usemi inakuuma because unaogopa atakuacha. And if a relationship is built on fear, that's not a relationship. It's meant to be built on love. Then mine is just there's a verse that says, whether you eat or drink, do it all for the glory of God. Use that relationship to honor God. Your relationship needs to honor God. So if you feel like in your relationship you're not honoring God, you're not pleasing God, stop.
Pasi give an instance of honoring God in a relationship.
Honoring God?
Yeah.
Living in purity. To honor is just to obey.
Hatuwezi sema tunaenda children's home sisi wawili tufue.
No, that's a good thing. That's a good thing, but even in the small things, because unaweza enda children's home alafu mnarudi kukulana. Unaget?
Yeah.
It should honor God from morning to morning, from Monday to Monday. So in your conversations, in how you in how you interact, in how you take time to show one another love, because you need to still show one another love. Showing one another love is not just by flesh. It is by so many 5 love languages. There's so much more to it. And there is so much you can do in a relationship that sex is not important to hold that relationship together. I think that's one thing. Sex is not important to hold the relationship together. There is so much you can do. Google. Don't Google except for sex. What? No, Google fun things to do in a relationship. In whatever town you're in. Hata kama uko Voi. Ushago kwa Kinomse. There are things you can do. So take time to do that rather than please the flesh and live in regret. But honor God in your relationship. Please God in your relationship. Obey God in your relationship. Because if you do it according to his plan, it usually works out. Even if it ends, heartbreak hayumangi sana. Ukitaka kujua heartbreak inauma sana, episode 34. Funds of Affirmation. You'll find what causes heartbreak to be top tier.
Yeah.
Something.
Thank you. I think we've covered like all
Bungoja heartbreak to be top tier. Pia wanaweza enda episode 25 usikie story ya Nyamu.
25 na 34.
yeah,
So tumehata Nyamu, sawa.
Tumemhata, amesema anakuja next month.
Nice.
Tunamgoja bana. Hata ndo tuanze yago.
What am I going to add? I'm not going to add anything. I feel like we've talked about what we should do as Christians in relationships and in pursuit of the higher calling. I think thank you very much, Pasi, for joining us in this series. Asante sana. You've been such a resource for us. I think that's all from the Cool Side. Tunashukuru sana for the support that you're giving us. Keep sharing the content, keep commenting, interact with us on our socials. Subscribe. That has been us from the Cool Side.
By the way, tumekwamia 299 subs tangu Sunday.
Mpaka
saa hizi bado
Tunaita 399.
299. Mpaka saa hizi bado hujapika.
Cheki.
Na mkanga naangalia hivi nashindwa kwani ama YouTube wanatuficha.
You are the one we've been waiting.
You are the one we've been waiting and looking for.
Yeah. Kama una one, you are our one.
Tufungie hiyo.
Really?
You're getting.
Haya, si Mungu awabariki.
So thank you very much.
Peace.